For decades, we've been told sodium is the enemy. However, most people don't understand the difference between salt and sodium. One is a deadly toxin and the other one is a necessity for life. You see, sodium chloride, or more commonly known as salt, is made out of two compounds, sodium and chloride, obviously. Meanwhile, sodium is an element and an electrolyte. These include sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, chloride, bicarbonate, and phosphate. Now, you should get these from natural sources such as meat, eggs, milk, bananas, coconuts, etc. And we all know no human can go on a diet which is lacking in these electrolytes. However, if you were to eat no salt for the rest of your entire life, nothing bad would happen to you because salt is highly toxic. Do this yourself. Try eating a spoonful of salt. If you put it in your mouth, what would happen? You'll immediately want to spit it out, and if you somehow swallow it, you will need to drink water because you will feel extremely thirsty. And that is very true because salt historically has been used as a quote-unquote poison to kill off any microbes or bacteria on meat. This is how meat was preserved, right? They killed an animal and whatever they didn't eat or wanted to keep for winter, they put a lot of salt around it and then they stored it somewhere for the winter. And the salt which was on the meat or on whatever kind of food, it killed all the bacteria and the microbes. That is because salt dehydrated them. You see, salt goes inside of your body and it dehydrates your cells, essentially making you dry up from the inside. And if you want to look at it scientifically, salt has an LD50 value. And this cannot mean anything good because anything which is good for you cannot have an LD50 value. Now, what is an LD50 value? I'll explain it to you very briefly. So here is the official explanation from Google. LD50, or the median lethal dose, is a toxicological measure that indicates the amount of a substance required to kill 50% of a tested population after a specified duration. It is commonly expressed in milligrams of substance per kilogram of body weight of the test subjects, often used to assess the acute toxicity of chemicals. And the smaller the number is, the more toxic it is. Now, salt has an LD50 value of 3000 milligrams per kilogram, the same exact amount as aspirin, the painkiller drug. Now imagine this. Now no one in their right mind will sprinkle fucking aspirin, the painkiller, on their food, right? Because intuitively you know that would fucking kill you or make you sick, make you throw up. But interestingly enough, it's the same exact number as salt, right? So that's strange. So why do we do it? Well, I believe we have been programmed or, accepted it as norm by the masses. Same thing with any other poison. Like coffee. When you were a kid and you tasted coffee, it tasted disgusting to you, right? But as time went on, you got used to it because you saw all the fucking adults drinking it, right? And your body got used to the toxin. Same thing with smoking. When you try a cigarette for the first time, it tastes disgusting. But the fucking nicotine, the toxins make you addicted, or at least make you used to it. Your body is gonna tolerate the poison. Some people can become immune to fucking snake venom because they take tiny amounts of it and your body gets used to it and builds an immunity, right? Same exact fucking principle. You wouldn't want to eat salt out of your natural intuitive mind, but you have been programmed to it or you have gotten fucking used to it because it is what everyone does and this is what you have been doing your entire life since you were a little baby. Now, if you eat a lot of salt, you'll obviously become dehydrated, right? And a lot of food companies use this to their advantage. For example, take a fast food company like McDonald's. Their food is very salty, their hamburgers, their fries are covered in salt, everything, right? And then they try to sell you a drink because obviously you're gonna be thirsty. And the drink has sugar, so you become addicted to it. So you will end up in this fucking cycle where you always have to buy more and more and more of their products. Same thing with fucking movie theaters, right? Go to a movie theater, you want to watch a movie, but then you buy popcorn because it tastes good, right? But the popcorn is very salty. So you're gonna be thirsty, so you're gonna end up buying fucking Coca-Cola, which is 10 times more expensive than in the grocery store. Now, if you eat a lot of salt, it is gonna have very bad effects on your body. These are some of the symptoms you're gonna develop. Eye bags, bloating, high blood pressure, confusion, muscle twitching, seizures, coma, and even death in severe cases. If you were to eat a lot of salt and you couldn't get any liquid, you would die, right? Also, not to mention, sea salt is very high in microplastics. Basically, microplastics are these tiny particles which every single plastic object releases, right? And if you have a lot of plastic pollution in the ocean, obviously every single plastic item is gonna release these microplastics. And when they try to make sea salt, because sea salt is made by getting water and then they let the water evaporate and basically what remains is salt, but also tiny particles and minerals remain, right? Same thing as microplastics, they remain in the salt. So sea salt is very high in microplastics. Same thing with most of the seafood, because these fish have been, filtering the water in the sea, and they have been living in it their whole life. Therefore, the sea life is also gonna have a lot of microplastics in it. Now, what about pink Himalayan salt, right? A lot of people say that is the solution because it doesn't have any microplastics, because it's found in the Himalayas, right? Now, these pink salts have actually been found to be very high in heavy metals. And that is fucking logical, right? Because what is salt? Salt is a rock that comes from the ground. Obviously, it's gonna be mixed with fucking heavy metals because it's the same place, right? Use your intuition. And people are surprised by this as if they don't come from the same fucking place. Of course there's gonna be fucking cross-contamination if it comes from the same place, the earth. Now, drinking water actually helps this problem because water obviously flushes out a lot of toxins from your body, including salt. So if you were to eat a lot of salt, then you were to drink water, you would have to go piss in like half an hour, and you would have to go piss a lot more than on a day where you ate low salt, right? But water is not optimal either, because water is basically derived of any other electrolytes or minerals. Yes, you have some in the mineral water or the tap water, but those aren't really the ones that are gonna have a huge impact on it. Basically, you're gonna go into minus, even if there are some in that water. So water isn't really optimal, and it's gonna more so dehydrate you. That is why a lot of people are constantly drinking water. You see, 60 years ago or 100 years ago, people didn't really drink water because they were hydrated, they didn't need so much salt, and also because they drank other liquids and only drank water when it was a necessity. They drank raw milk, which is very high in nutrients. They drank orange juice, apple juice, any kind of juice really. They ate a lot of fruits, like for example coconuts and watermelons and oranges. Water was also contaminated in a lot of places. This is why medieval people would rather drink some sort of ale or beer or some sort of other alcohol, because those things weren't contaminated with bacteria. So if you eat a lot of salt, you should replenish your body with electrolytes. Now, the best way to do this aren't actually some sort of electrolyte drinks such as Gatorade, because obviously that's in a plastic bottle. There's a lot of unnatural colors, preservatives, chemicals, and so on. Also, when Gatorade is made, they grab the hot liquid which comes out of the factory, they put it into a plastic bottle, and then it sits in the warehouses and the shelves for years, right? That is very bad. That is going to nuke your hormones, because plastic, as I said, releases a lot of microplastics which then go into your body. You absorb the chemicals which the plastic is made out of. Then those chemicals attach themselves to your cells, and specifically every single cell has an estrogen receptor. Estrogen is the female hormone, and that receptor is going to be releasing the female hormone for months, years, and that is going to make you develop like an ugly woman, and even going to make you infertile. It's going to give you a higher pitched voice, lower testosterone, it's going to give you wider hips, less body hair. You might even go infertile. In fact, 1 in 5 people are infertile, and testosterone levels are dropping up to 5% every single year. So what is the best way to replenish your electrolytes? Now, the best way to replenish your electrolytes, or to balance them out after you ate something very, very salty, is obviously eating something which balances out your electrolytes, right? Simple enough. You want to have your electrolytes balanced out, and the best way to do this is to eat something with high levels of potassium. And the 2 best foods you can do is coconut water, which is, a drink, but whatever, and a banana. You see, these are very, very high in potassium, and also obviously red meat, but these are quicker. So these are gonna balance out your electrolytes. Unlike water, which is only gonna make you more thirsty in a way. Like, it's gonna quench your thirst, but not really hydrate you. And also, if you're a pro athlete, there's absolutely no need to be taking electrolytes or drinking Gatorade, because if you don't sweat a lot, if you don't go to the sauna for fucking 2 hours a day, if you don't fucking work construction outside, there's no need to drink electrolytes. They're a fucking scam. And also, they're gonna make you develop kidney stones, because they have a lot of unnatural flavorings, a lot of colorings, preservatives. Like, for example, sauna is very, very amazing for you, right? But it's also gonna make you dehydrated, because you get all the water out of your system. So just as a measure, each time you go to the sauna, after that, I recommend you drink a bit of coconut water and eat some fruit, more specifically a banana, and that is gonna balance it out and not gonna make you bloated. Okay, now we get to the second part of the video. Why did sodium get such a bad reputation? You see, the main reason why sodium and salt get mistaken, and sodium gets called the devil, the fucking worst thing you can eat on earth, right? It's because the people, the masses, misunderstood the scientists. You see, the scientists actually did a so-called study, which is bullshit in fact, where they went up to random people on the street and they asked them whether they eat red meat. And the majority of people said yes, right? And then they tested these people. However, they didn't realize that these people were eating McDonald's, hot dogs, whatever fucking junk food which is made out of ultra-processed meats, right? Which are naturally high in salt to make you addicted. And also salt is a preservative, right? And then they did tests on these people and turns out they were unhealthy. So they drew a conclusion between sodium, red meat and being unhealthy, and this is where this bullshit comes from. And also the same fucking scientists are now trying to push plant-based soy fucking Beyond Meat cockroach hamburgers and fucking Soylent Green on you. So don't believe the propaganda. Sodium is good for you, it's an electrolyte, remember? But salt is bad for you and red meat is obviously very good for you. Now you also have to use your fucking brain. What is salt? It's a rock from the ground, and when you fucking lick it or eat it, you want to spit it out and you become thirsty. Same thing with fucking poisons, right? If you were to eat some sort of poison or put it in your mouth, you want to spit it out immediately because how bad it tastes, right? Like, why would you take a perfectly fine piece of meat and you want to put this fucking salty, disgusting, awful tasting rock, which is gonna make the food taste better? Because if you were to eat salt alone, you would spit it out, right? So why would you put it in a perfectly fucking good state? You're going against your natural fucking brain. And this has just become the social norm, to put salt on everything, because people don't realize the dangers of it. And you've been programmed to do so with every single toxin. When you're a kid, you don't really like coffee, right? It tastes fucking disgusting to you, but as an adult you get used to it. Same thing with Zyn or cigarettes, nicotine, but at least those things have some sort of good properties to them. However, salt does not. Like, for example, coffee or caffeine, it gives you adrenaline, it makes you more focused, more energetic, right? However, salt only poisons you and makes you fucking thirsty. Now, soldiers in the Roman Empire were actually paid in salt. This is where the word salary comes from. Now imagine how brainwashed they were. They went to a war, they killed people, and as a reward they got fucking pieces of rocks which are toxic. Unlike in nature where the war becomes hunting and gathering, and you gather and you receive or earn things that are actually good and healthy for you, which when you put them in your mouth you want to eat them, right? Meat, berries, fruits, honey, because your intuition knows that it's good for you and it's what you're supposed to eat, unlike a piece of fucking rock that is toxic to you and tastes disgusting. The general got paid in meat and honey, while the soldiers got paid in toxic rocks. That's just stupid, bro. Okay, so what are some things you can do to avoid salt in our diets and to circumvent its negative effects? So, number one, it's obvious, stop putting salt on your food. You're drying yourself out. You're killing yourself slowly, it's fucking poison. Number two, stay hydrated, and water is pretty good, but if you want to be optimally healthy, I recommend you drink something else. Raw milk, blood, juices, fruits are gonna be phenomenal. Now, salt also causes bloating, so how do you prevent bloating? You do something called lymphatic drainage. Basically, because salt helps to keep water in the body, you need to do something to get that fluid out of you. So you grab something which is called a gua sha tool, I'll put a picture up on screen, and you basically do a little routine where you push this fucking liquids out of your face, and this is like a quick looks-maxing tip you can do every single morning or each time you eat something which is very salty or high in carbohydrates. Cutting out salt will also help you in a lot of other ways. It will also improve your looks by making your skin more healthy, also gonna get rid of most of your eye bags, also gonna decrease your fucking chances of dying. It's gonna help with dehydration, so you'll have to drink less water. Also, you'll be less likely to get kidney stones, so that's great. Just don't drink any electrolyte drinks, because then the fucking chance of kidney stones is back up again. It's stupid. So just make sure you don't eat any salt, because it is very, very toxic. However, sodium is not the enemy. Sodium is the electrolyte that you need, and every single human needs it in order to survive, alongside every single other mineral and electrolyte. And by the way, every single vitamin in doses that you need is found in beef, red meat. So if you want to be optimally healthy, I recommend you eat a lot of animal products. As I said, red meat, chicken, milk, fish, and also a lot of fruits, fruit juices. By the way, no pressure guys, but check out the first link in the description. You can apply for my personal one-on-one coaching, and the first video call is actually free. So check out the first link in the description. You can book a free call with me. And if you don't want to, that is completely fine. Just make sure to like the video so more people see this and they learn about salt versus sodium, and subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos so you can become optimally healthy. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.